Hello guys and girls, how's it going? Screezilla here, and I hope you're all well. And you're joining me today in a live game in the JU288. Not the most exciting thing in the world, I know. A vehicle I use a lot. I kind of love this plane. It's a plane I very much enjoy. Let's see how many bombers we got on the back on our team. So we got an HE-177 and a 288. So where's the HE gone? There's 288 there. Trying to spot your bombers now. There's the HE-177 heading off towards the bases. We will head off over here and we will go and take our spoils of the airfield. Anyway, not just doing this because I want to waste some time and just make a video. Cough cough. Now, there is actually a purpose to this one today, and it is about stealth nerfs. Yes, stealth nerfs, everybody's favourite thing. Much like pilot injuries have mysteriously seemed to come back into the game after they were meant to be removed. This is something a few people have been complaining about, saying their pilots have been injured, despite pilot injuries being removed from the game. And that's one of those things that you go, yeah, but they said they removed it, didn't they? Oh, okay, well that's fun. So, yeah, pilot injuries have been sort of stealthily put back in the game without anybody noticing. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was the stealth nerf of the JU288. Now, please stop me if I'm wrong here, because if you have got the actual evidence of it, I'm happy to be proven wrong and eat a humble pie and just be like, okay, well, I got that wrong, but that tough up, oh well, la-di-da. Much like gunners, gunners seem to have received a bit of a whack with the old Nerf hammer as well, because gunners used to be able to hit things. AI gunners used to be able to do their job, and nowadays they tend to be pretty poor. I remember back when I used to fly my Lancaster and my short Sterling even. Quite often my AA gunners were quite useful, and they actually did quite a lot of damage. Back in the days of the Wellington as well, the Welly was an absolute beast and could really do some damage to fighters when they were on your 6, because the Wellington just didn't die. Unlike nowadays, where if your plane gets hit anywhere in the centre area of the plane, its wings and tail will just fall off. Because, for some reason, apparently that's how planes work nowadays. Anyway, the big thing I wanted to talk about was the stealth nerf of the JU288, and that is the fact that this plane has got new rip speeds. It's got a whole new flight model, it feels like. And back in the day, you used to be able to dive this plane at a relatively good speed and not have any issue of the wings coming off, not have any inclination that the wings were going to come off. There was no buffeting, there was no serious issue, there was no real sort of concern that the wings would come off of the plane. But recently, where's the JU288 going? Sorry, the HE-177 going even. So, what's happened now is basically when you dive in this plane, you will get your rip indication speed coming up, and it will come up relatively quickly. So after I go and drop my bombs, I don't know where that HE-177's gone. But basically, yeah, the plane is now really easy to rip and does not take, doesn't drop altitude very well. And basically, you will find that your plane will struggle. Even it will be a real big struggle to actually get the plane down to a lower altitude, because the plane's wings will start wanting to come off pretty quickly. And this is at all altitudes as well. I was thinking maybe it was a bit higher altitude thing. Maybe it's because I was in thinner air and stuff like that. But what's happened since the latest patch is, as soon as you've been getting up to those sort of higher air speeds, and we should start seeing it shortly. There we go. This plane never used to rip at this altitude, at this speed. So you can tell something's been changed. And this has been changed without any server patch notes, without any notes altogether. This change has simply just been put in. And there's not been any detailed notes about it. There's not been any notes about the change of the plane's performance or the change in the way the actual wings work, or the actual your rip altitude or rip speed or rip dive speed. You know, there was no changes in that. Now, you used to be able to get to around about, I'm trying to think of the speed, I think it was about 350, 370 or something like that. I'll have to go back and actually watch an older video to remember, because I can't remember the exact speed of it. But I know that the rip speed was very, very low. And this has caused a huge problem, because now when you're actually flying this plane, you've got to be very, very careful of going too fast. Because if you go too fast, you're just going to rip your wings off. So when you gain altitude in this plane, hopefully I've worked this just out right. If not, I'm just going to have to completely redo the bomb roll. So now when you're getting back to base, I think we actually killed all our members. Oh no, there's still a couple of them left. So now when you're getting back to base, say, now one of my most used tactics was just to generally ease the plane into a nosedive and just go down and just easily get down to earth. You'd be going around about 360, 370 miles per hour. But now you've got the problem of rip speed coming in, and the plane starts shaking itself apart above about, let's see here, because I'm actually going to be able to watch what I'm doing now, around about 330, 340, way before the red line speed. We get the reduced speed indicator coming up shortly. There we go. And it comes out of nowhere. There's no redlining, there's nothing. There's no indication that you're actually going too fast. So usually with the plane, what will happen is your indicated airspeed will come up for you, and it will come up with a red message coming up to say you're going a bit too fast there, slow it down buddy or I'll explode. But what's happened is with the 288 is that speed indicator's disappeared, and it's no longer there, so you don't get told if you're going too fast. So you don't know if you're actually going too fast or not. And what will generally happen is, if you're actually, you know, jumping in the plane for the first time since the update, since the patch was actually updated, you're going to find that your wings just rip off, or your plane falls apart for no reason. And that's not a very fun thing to happen, and it's not a very easy thing to do. It's not a very fun way of flying the plane. If we look at the actual airspeed indicator here, just to reduce our air brakes. So usually, you know, the red line will actually come up on the dial. You'll be able to see sort of around about the 600 mark is about sort of probably about as fast as you want to go in this plane, 600-700 kilometers per hour. But it comes up much sooner than you expect, and then at lower altitudes you're fine. So right now at a low altitude, there we go. We've actually got our proper rip speed come up. So it seems to be a thing they've changed with the air density. It seems to be something they've changed with the actual game up above, but it only seems to be affecting the 280A. It only seems to be affecting one plane, and only one plane, which is really, really awkward, because you sort of, when you're only playing one plane or a couple of planes, if you don't know what's happening, you wouldn't know that this was a problem. And for this Stealth Nerf to just come in as it is, it's a little bit, well, it's a really dodgy thing to do. And it's not a very good thing to do either, because this is basically a stealth nerf. This is a stealth nerf, this is a stealth hit. And it's not an actual, it's not a general sort of, you know, well-known thing. It's just something that has appeared since the last patch. And it really only seems to appear affecting this one plane. Which really, really just doesn't feel right, especially for a premium. Now, this premium is just, it's in, look, I can't defend this premium, it's overpowered. However, it's overpowered like the America bomber is now overpowered, in the fact that basically Gaijin hasn't made a game that suits bombers. So, to say it's overpowered is to say that, well, basically Gaijin's messed up and not made a game that's suitable for it to be in. And that's precisely what's happened. And you can't sort of go nerfing a premium, nerfing a plane, without saying anything. And you can't really do that without saying anything on the forums or on the actual change notes, because there is nothing that I've seen in the change notes which actually states that this plane has been affected. There's nothing in the change notes that has stated that different altitudes will affect your rip speed. Now, this is something that is pretty, makes sense, of course, because the higher you are, the thinner the air, of course, and blah blah blah. Altitude, and there's lots of math, and it gets very, makes me go very cross-eyed. But the fact they've not stated anything, and they've stated nothing in game, nothing has actually been told that this is actually a feature now. This is actually something that's going to be in game for these for this plane. You know, for this premium plane, you can no longer sort of just dive at this sort of speed, at this altitude, yada yada yada. So the fact they've actually taken out an ability of the plane, you kind of just scratch your head. Sorry, trying to quietly crunch this cough squeak as I talk. And you know, it's very shady. It's a very shady practice of Gaijin, because it's fair enough to nerf something, and to nerf a premium, it's fair enough to do that too. To severely nerf a premium, I think you have to offer a refund of some form. But nerfing of vehicles is not a, at the end of the day, it's going to happen, you know. The main issue with the JU-288 has been the fact that people call it overpowered because, well, it's fast, it's capable of dropping bombs quickly, it's got very good tail guns on it, you know, and it's relatively strong. It's a very decent little bomber. It's a very good medium bomber. But at the end of the day, this plane was bought by a lot of people because it was a very good medium bomber. And for it to be nerfed in such a way, and to be completely broken, well, almost broken, it's not completely broken, it just breaks it a little bit and damages it a bit. It's just not cricket. And it's one of those things of, you know, it's just not really a good thing to do, and it's dodgy to do that kind of stuff anyway. And the biggest issue I have, the biggest grievance I have with it, is the fact that... Oh shit, there's a Spitfire right there. Hello, Mr. Spitfire. How you doing today? I hope you're very well. And go away. Nice. I'm not going to hit on a dying Spitfire there. So yeah, basically the stealth nerf about this plane. It's something that's come into the game, it's something they've put in and a bit dodgy, and it doesn't seem right to me. So let me know in the comments below what you think, and I will catch you all next time for some more War Thunder. Bye bye.